Dude, he's such a pathetic rat. It's crazy. Teenager-oriented pedophile creation factory, pedophile conversion therapy channel. He is doing like harm on an insane scale, if you believe that. Why did you get so defensive there, Nux? Why? Because the dance they're doing is essentially like a dog whistle. Like, I've seen this kind of directly dangerous situation.
What this guy's calling trolling, I call extremely light banter. General mischief.
Coded message to all Harmful Opinion subscribers. Attack, 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 attack. So, Harmful Opinions. Or I suppose still kind of an anti-SJW YouTuber.
Following.
In a way, he still kind of makes the same content he always did. It's a little bit different, I guess. He's a little bit more varied these days. But he started off as like one of the big anti-SJW guys, Gamergate guys. And then he sort of broke from Sargon and Shu and all these people because he thought they were sellouts because they were promoting Candid, which was a messaging and social media app that was supposed to be all that free speech and like decentralized and stuff, but actually it was just farming data to try and train bots that would be used to moderate social media platforms, which was what they were principally against. So we're going to watch his video. He's sort of been around in the same space I am, I guess, because he speaks to Chud quite a lot recently. So he's also done a video on Nuxtaku. So we're going to see what he's got to say. I did just skim it, not actually go through it, but go over it. And it seems like it's covered a lot of the ground we have. But it's more of a prepared video, so it should be good. Let's have a look.
The Chris Tyson drama explosion, which included people taking issue with Chris's association with and apparent fandom of an artist called Shadman, many people were quick to call out those who were outraged for perceived double standards. It wasn't just Chris, they said. Many people associated with Shadman and propagated his work, a portfolio which most iniquitously includes pornographic cartoons depicting Keemstar's daughter. Why aren't all these other people being hounded? It was asked. The expectation, presumably, was that everyone simply hates trans people and would ignore this criticism of their Chris hate because they don't truly care. It's just something they can use as a weapon against an LGBT.
Okay, I don't think people truly do care about the Shadman stuff that much. Maybe some people do. Keemstar probably does. But I don't think most people really actually care about the Shadman stuff that much. But I also don't think it's about trans people. I think people just like having a weapon to go after people online. That's why I like focusing on the people who are being hypocritical, because I don't really care about the thing. I care about people who pretend they care about the thing while having also done the thing. That's what bothers me, most of them, more than anything else. Anyway, we'll keep watching. Harmful Opinions, obviously taking a different stance, probably has more of a stance against Lolly. Like that. So.
LGBTQ individual. However, in actuality, lists were made of collaborators, associates, and supporters of Shadman. Reasons for inclusion on such lists ranged from merely tweeting at him to supporting his art financially or even using it in their own creations. Some of those on these lists caught less flack, and some caught more for various reasons you can imagine. One individual who certainly feels he caught more flack than was due is the VTuber called Nuxtaku.
And it seems Nuxtaku had private conversations with Shadman throughout 2021. Curious! 1.3 million views, 200,000, 100,000, 100,000, 100,000. The point that I'm trying to make here is, for some reason, I became the goddamn enemy numero uno when it comes to this freaking bullshit.
I will quickly say, based solely on the content of the video in that tweet, his involvement with Shadman would seem relatively minor. No pun intended. It's a newer clip of Nux calling him a Nazi-ish, pedo-ish guy, alongside older clips sharing that he's received DMs from Shadman. I myself, even, would certainly speak with a freak, especially if they say weirdo stuff that entertains me, and that doesn't suggest a mutually respectful relationship. Fine. So far. Less comfortable a piece of evidence, though, for many, is that Nuxtaku once requested to collab with Shadman, presumably for a video.
This is gonna be fun. I like this one a lot. Someone tags me, probably this guy. I don't remember what this was about. Shadman says, a bit too middle school. I say,
Okay, I really hope that Harmful Opinions actually goes over the videos that he references as examples of his trolling here. Because I feel like that defense is just so dog shit when you actually go and look at a single one of those videos.
collab. He says, Lamau, no, but your heart's in the right place. I say, understandable, have a nice day. I'm here when you come around.
This information was amplified to a large audience by Keemstar, but Nuxtaku had an explanation.
People are making this as some sort of, I am supporting him and I'm trying my best to become friends with Shadman, this monster. Which is fucking stupid if you know my content at all. I troll, confront people when I collab the same way you do, talking to Keemstar, on LOLcow, and if you watch my videos, you know that. I don't mind if you hate me, but at least hate me for the right reasons.
Ah, so it would have been a confrontation. He would have owned Shadman. Nux further clarifies.
I am going to prove the point of my troll confront people shtick. Okay, so let me pull up my original tweet where I covered this, because I did in fact mention this over here. So I say, people saying I'm a liar because of these tweets. Aside from not knowing the extent of his shit then, meaning I didn't know about the Keemstar daughter shit, I'd collab with all kinds of scum. Most of my collabs are trolling, and I was gonna grill him. I'd interview EDP. I never commissioned, promoted, been friends with him.
Okay, you could easily imagine someone getting EDP onto a call to treat as a punching bag. Although, perhaps simply imagining things
Nuxtaku made me change this channel on the TV for the sadness.
Isn't enough,
Dude.
and it certainly wasn't enough for the YouTuber Lyrics.
Lyrics, commentary YouTuber fellow, says, good faith question, hoping you could clarify. This is
Lyrics
huge, because
mention?
most questions, not at all good faith. So you didn't know the extent of his shit then, but you were going to grill him at the same time. If you did get that collab, what would you grill Shad on? From what I remember, he was known as the guy who drew minors sexually. You didn't know that? The rare good faith question. I knew about the lolly stuff and some of his art, like the bestiality with fictional children, etc. Definitely enough to grill the guy. Holy shit, there is so much more. Like, there is so much more than just that. That is the worst, and that would have been the hard cutoff for me to not even respond to the guy, probably. But I legitimately was gonna grill the guy. If you've seen my collabs, I didn't know about Keemstar's daughter, although that's the less important part of my tweet. Collabs are not promotions or condonement in any way on my channel.
He would have bullied him, crushed his soul over lowly bestiality. I should disclose to you at this point, dear viewer, the fact that I have a little bird sitting on my shoulder who goes by the name Nicandros and is a regular in my Twitch chat. He's shown me some things,
Oh, so
and
you're
because
in
of
chat,
that,
are you?
this is where I start to feel a niggling doubt. For
Ayo, hold up.
and is a regular in my
What
Twitch
did
chat.
you say?
He's shown me some things, and because of that, this is where I start to feel a niggling doubt.
Oh, what? Doubt?
Because of that, this is where I start to feel a niggling doubt. For
Ayo?
instance, I mean, he did specify clearly, child.
What the fuck? Dude. Dude, what the fuck? What the fuck? Bruh.
Bestiality is what he has an issue with, so it's not the same, but goddamn, the line for what he considers freak shit suited only for ripping on has got to be a bit closer to
He removed that thumbnail due to that vid. Really? Due to Harm Opinions video. Wait, he's removing all the cursed ones. Look. It's removed thumbnails. He's made it the YouTube auto-generated one. Oh my god. Dude, he's such a pathetic rat. It's crazy. And he'll never address it either. That's the thing with it, man. He never addresses this stuff. He just, whenever someone calls him out on something, he quietly sweeps it away and then never mentions it. Dude, it's so crazy. He's never apologized to Magnetar. He never apologized to, apparently this Tiger person. He repeated a pedo allegation about them, completely unfounded. Just because someone he trusted said they were a pedo, so he repeated it and said they were a pedo. Oh man, he's such a pathetic rat. It's so crazy.
He did specify clearly child bestiality is what he has an issue with, so it's not the same, but goddamn, the line for what he considers freak shit suited only for ripping on has got to be a bit closer to Shadman
of that
than it is
statement,
for me.
okay?
I mean,
No acronym.
cartoon woman being raped by a dog in a public humiliation ritual crosses it easily for me, personally. You know me, I do love making a spectacle of strange things, but this is just bait for who knows what kind of person to click it and then watch him react to a speedrun fail compilation. What kind of fish are you gonna catch with a worm like that on your hook? This kind. The kind that's into that stuff and will share the source for your viewers in the comments. Wait.
Dude, yeah, I mentioned this in my fucking on Twitter as well. All over his comments, his subreddit, everywhere. They're all like spreading around like sauce, cultured, sir. Sauce. Do you have a sauce on that, sir? It's like everywhere. It's like so obvious what's happening.
Kind that's into that stuff and will share the source for your.
Nux was in Turkey Tom's chat earlier. What was Turkey Tom watching this?
The False Claims Act is America's...
No.
Boys.
Ratting around.
Viewers in the comments. Wait a second. That profile pic. Who's that little cartoon girl? I swear I've seen her before. Oh, how adorable. What a sweet child.
Yeah.
I've also seen her in a thumbnail of a video on Nuxtaku's Nuxanor channel. A rather unwise...
Oh, that one's still there.
reverse image search on Google eventually leads you to a hentai site page where the image, which features an erect penis that had just been cut off for the thumbnail, is tagged with, among other labels, imminent rape. Lolly. Further on the topic of his viewers being inspired
I mean, I could have told you that. I could have told you that.
The porn he showcases in thumbnails, although he does sometimes help them out by pinning the porn artist's name when it's commented. There is also a porn-sick fellow on the fan-run Nuxtaku subreddit who goes by reality_false, who is a prodigious source poster for everything else. He posts the thumbnail and shares where the porn's from.
It's just like,
or at least
obviously, if you think the lolicon stuff is like pedophilia, if you think every lolicon is a pedophile, or you think you're likely to become a pedophile by looking at lolicon, or it can increase pedophilic urges if a pedophile looks at it. Nuxtaku is like running a pedophile indoctrination channel, basically, where just where he just displays the like most deranged, insane lolly shit, and but like not all of it, and then everyone in the comments directs anyone that wants to know towards the rest of it. And then you'll immediately, and once you're on one of these sites, it's like I mean, you can get everything, right? You're like literally pipelined basically from the Nuxtaku video into the comments, and then onto some website that has untold terabytes of lolicon. And it's mostly teenagers. So if you do believe that looking at lolly shit can make someone a pedophile, Nux is literally... He's got a teenager-oriented pedophile creation factory, pedophile conversion therapy channel. He is doing like harm on an insane scale, if you believe that.
Did until he was apparently banned 3 years ago. That said, his
Food Shop
posts
super
still
chatted
remain,
$1.99. Imminent rap.
Thank you for the 199.
An archive for Nuxtaku's changed or deleted dodgy choices from before that point. Like this. Hey look, it's our little friend again. The source image isn't tagged with lolly on the site it shared on this time, but I'm going to go ahead and say that's a cartoon of an undeveloped teen or preteen hairless girl getting railed. Neat. FYI, this whole video was deleted for some reason, so I don't know what was in it. By the way, that little shark girl, she's an avatar for a VTuber, and she's called Gura. Here's a little clip where Nuxtaku mentions her.
There's lollies, which I have absolutely nothing against. I don't think anyone has anything against lollies, okay? Like Chibidoki or Megumin from Konosuba or Gura. Nothing has anything against lollies. It's lolly that's the gray zone.
He's very clear, though. It's gray. It's not full pedo. His thumbnails aren't full pedo. It's sus, but they're just cartoons.
This guy's pinned tweet that he retweeted is this, all right? Look,
so I think lolly equals pedo. I think if you're looking at lolicon, if someone who is looking at lolicon is significantly more likely to be a pedophile than someone who's not, but it's not guaranteed, and I don't believe it works in like I don't think the attraction is vertical, if you know what I mean. It doesn't, you don't level, if someone looks at more lolicon, they don't get closer to being a pedophile. They're just either a pedophile or they're not, and it's like a horizontal thing. You know, that's
stuff. That's a line, all right? Lewd lolly stuff. That's the gray zone, not actual pedophilia, but the gray zone.
I'm a bit harsher regarding people who are aroused by depictions of children, especially depending on, you know, how realistic the proportions are. But I can tolerate that perspective elsewhere. I've heard him go into a bit more detail about his thoughts.
This is like one of those debates that in the anime community, it's so divided. Like, there are actual people that think it's not weird to fetishize lollies. I'm just saying. Definitely better to fetishize lollies than real-life children. That's not the debate, but that doesn't make it not weird and cringe and something that I would keep away from, you know, my kids.
Three-Toed Polly says, not all of the people who watch cuck porn are cucks, but all cucks watch cuck porn. I don't even know that those statements are true. I don't even know that I agree with that line of thinking. Do all cucks watch cuck porn, or do we think a lot of them probably just practice it and watch other guys fuck their wife, but on video? That's not cuck porn. That's just like a. I mean, it's not really the same thing, is it? I mean, I suppose it is kind of cuck porn, but it's not. I wouldn't see that as the same thing, you know.
Kids, per se.
Quite a light tone, so I'm still not really buying the idea he'd have been super hostile to Shadman in a collab. Be real, it would have been light ribbing that any weirdo cartoon cunny connoisseur has heard a million times. But I wonder...
True, that's the ascendant take, is all porn is cuck porn. Very true. Very true.
How does that opinion play out in terms of letting children around the kind of people who use lolly porn in their thumbnails to expose a mass audience to such material? Just a thought. One more little thing I want to peep before getting back on track a bit. Presumably with this being his take on lolly, his take on cartoons, we could definitely expect him to be much more serious about questionable things involving real children, right? Wait, that's not funny. That's the other thing. Extremely concerning. For clarity, the words I heard him say were, "So now you got all these underage kids on TikTok doing the things. Obviously solo, but the implication is there." And then straight into commenting on how catchy the song is. Teehee. I'm sorry.
I mean, it literally, it's like, it is just, there's so much, the Venn diagram of like Nuxtaku content and early porn introduction fetishism is like, there's a lot of these things are, there's a big overlap there. There's a big overlap there. It's not a circle, but there's a big overlap between those two circles.
A pornographic cartoon of an Animal Crossing character having sex on TikTok is not the kind of thing I'd use as a throwaway line in a video I'm making as a grown man, wiggling an avatar around in front of a censored porn vid. Children being drawn to adult material by use of a family-friendly IP and then being influenced to recreate it in videos for attention is spine-tingling. Masses of minors conditioned into producing soft-core chomo porn. This is a pedo's dream. Literally. There are jokes to be made, sure. Jokes to be made about everything, but just saying what's happening happily and lightheartedly, that's just normal and chill to Nux? For me, that's evidence we're in nightmare world. If you don't quite get what's spooking me here, here's Turkey Thomas explaining a relevant strategy used by pedos for you. Funnily enough, this clip features an image you might recognize.
EPI is a shorthand.
Yeah, it's about EPI. Wow.
Or early introduction, in which minors are exposed to adult content. They fantasize about perverting their innocence, often by utilizing Rule 30.
What a curious example that Turkey Tom's used there.
Exposed to adult content. They fantasize about perverting their innocence, often by utilizing Rule 34 to flood sites with a younger demographic. It's a form of fetish mining explicitly used to groom
I'm pretty sure it's from the Goon Clan video.
children.
Flooding a mixed audience site with adult material to introduce children to a kind of porn they might be more comfortable with, to hook 'em, huh?
It's not, well, okay, this is retarded. I think Harmful Opinion's going down the wrong track here. It's not really a matter of, because the like porn addiction stuff is kind of fucking overblown. Like, there is definitely some problems, people fucking frying their brains with fucking jacking off all the time, but it's kind of overblown. The problem isn't really getting kids hooked on porn. The problem is normalizing sexual relationships to minors, especially sexual relationships involving minors to minors, because it makes them more vulnerable to grooming or predation, right? It's not really, people aren't really, there's not really a serious concern, oh my god, you're gonna see porn on YouTube and then you're addicted to porn and then you can't stop jerking off. It's like, that's not really the problem. Yeah, it can affect the kid's development too. Exactly. It's more about it frying their brain and making them more vulnerable than the idea of porn addiction. But yeah. But yeah.
Interesting.
Whatever.
Not suggesting this was Nuxtaku's intent with these. Perhaps so many are removed because he realized how bad a look it is, or maybe it just became a YouTube problem at some point. But what I would suggest is that his clickbait strategy shows supremely terrible judgment or recklessness, at the very least. Back to his TikTok comment. I find it concerning that children performing these actions on camera for anyone
crazy, man. Those are some insane thumbnails. Bro, what is
judgment
that?
Or recklessness.
The Lucario one, man. This is just nuts. This is just crazy.
At the very least. Back to his TikTok comment. I find it concerning that children performing these actions on camera for anyone to see could represent direct success of this strategy. And even if it's not the direct outcome of this deliberate tactic, it's sickening that there's a system that nudges kids to produce material for these freaks. Okay, lolly's a gray area. Alright, Nux. What do you think adults watching those kids on TikTok are? And remember, not to necessarily blame anyone who produces adult material that utilizes video game elements and tries to keep it in appropriate places, but just by these animations existing, you end up with commenters talking about them on parts of the web that do appeal to kids and which they freely access in a way that wouldn't generate parental suspicion, such as in the comments for game music that's been featured in such porn. Perhaps
Lucario got me feeling some type of way on God. That's epic. Thanks for sharing, man. Seriously, thanks for sharing.
Directing them there. Forget the quote-unquote lowly gray area. Genuine, hardcore nonces love when things work out this way. Hear it straight from the pedo's mouth. Well, not Tom, but the guy he's quoting.
I love the idea of cute to play their favorite games. That's how I got a addiction.
But perhaps I've been premature. Maybe I've been unfair. Nux does continue to talk about that TikTok trend in his video. I'm sure he'll elaborate on the children he mentioned miming sex.
This is currently the most concerning trend on TikTok.
Is it really the most concerning trend on TikTok? There's literally a trend right now called devious licks, where people break into schools or are in schools and steal stuff. That is a trend on TikTok right now. But no, this is the most disturbing trend.
No, that's based. I'm sorry, but Devious Licks is based. That is just based. And stealing traffic cones and shit like that, that's funny. That's just funny.
Trend on TikTok. All right, dude.
Sorry, what? You're really going to tell me that kids are creating erotic dance material for pedos to enjoy, and then the follow-up is to downplay it? You can discuss which is worse, perhaps taking into account risk of injury, reputation, future ruination, blah blah blah. But why take a side so hard?
Well, more and more TikTokers have started to
why
recreate that
why are you so defensive, Nux? Why did you get so defensive there, Nux?
dance, and it's got people concerned. Basically, a lot of people are afraid that the dance is going to get really popular and kids are going to start coming on the app and doing it and get targeted by predators.
No one's afraid of that. All right, maybe I'm not around TikTok enough and I don't understand the ecosystem.
You don't need a degree in computer science for this, buddy. You told me kids are posting these videos. Who do you think might be watching?
But I don't think that people are afraid of kids being targeted by predators because they're doing a dance, okay? Kids are targeted by predators on TikTok for freaking breathing crooked. I don't think this dance is gonna push anyone over the edge, but that's just me.
Oh no,
Retard! Okay, and this is why Harmful shouldn't have gone down the porn addiction route a minute ago as well. This is, okay. This is why I shouldn't have gone down that route too. Because you absolutely should be making the point that the reason it's bad for kids to see porn is because it makes them more vulnerable to grooming. And if a predator sees a TikTok that shows that a kid has possibly been exposed to pornographic material, well, because the dance they're doing is essentially like a dog whistle, like, I've seen this porn, right? That's obvious. That's actually like a really kind of directly dangerous situation.
It absolutely will push them over the edge, and I mean that in a very disgusting way. Nux can comprehend the sus nature of loli and what it may suggest about those who enjoy it, but will tell us that kids are filming themselves mimicking sex acts for anyone in the world to watch, and can't understand intuitively why that's messed up, regardless of whether or not someone comes and abducts them. Not sure our boys all there.
Yeah, see, this is a terrible bad point. Like, you really can't, like, I hate when anyone does this. You really can't understand this intuitively. It's like, no, just lay it out. And it's because he's gone down the wrong route. Like, just looking at like porn addiction and shit. Like, there's no need for any of that. Yeah.
On that point of what apparently seems normal for him, if even this sickening ecosystem is only cause for light-hearted comment and downplay, you'll have to forgive me again if my doubts regarding exactly how hard Nux would have grilled Shadman over loli stuff continue to grow exponentially. Even without this little context detour, there was one man who doubted even without all this information. Remember from earlier, it was lyrics. Let's pick that back up now.
Appreciate the reply. If you have a history of doing many collabs for the sole purpose of trolling them, I think this is fair. Not gonna lie, when saying I was asking for a collab as a troll, it looks kind of bad. If that's what you've done before, it's believable. Well, this over here is a collab where I collabed with Kagi Films, a voice actor, and it was purely for the... I told him that we were going to get...
Blah, blah, blah. So...
Also, guys, now is a great time to remind you, with 206 people here, and only 45 likes. Please, stop freeloading, okay, guys? Stop freeloading. Press the like button, okay? There's about 160 people who have not pressed the like button right now. Very shameful. It's very shameful. Interesting points about porn addiction. Now let's see your Zenless Zone Zero team. I posted it in Discord. You've seen my Zenless Zone Zero team. My main team is Anby, Nicole, and Chuyon. Guys, please remember to press the like button, okay? We got about 140 likes. We can still get out of the viewership right now, okay, guys? Also, please remember to donate through the Stream Elements link in the pinned chat message. You can also buy yourself a membership or give someone else a membership, or gift a whole bunch of memberships randomly in the chat through the membership option next to the chat. Also next to the chat, you've got the super chat function, which allows you to highlight a message, have it read out on TTS, and yeah, that's it. Or and give me money. Also, you can get a super sticker, which highlights a little YouTube GIF. That's what you want. You can go to discord.gg/Kuihman, twitter.com/Kuihman, reddit.com/r/Kuihman. Thank you. Okay.
The lyrics very fairly asks Nux, who claims he would only have Shadman on to troll him, if he has a history of bringing people on to mess with them, clearly meaning something like an ambush, really mess with them. Lyrics wants proof that Nux would treat Shadman rough, obviously. Here are a couple clips I've selected from the videos Nux uses to demonstrate he's a real stone-cold troll beast.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yo, thank you for the 5 gifted, Raul. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
The thing is, you're actually one of the best dub voice actors. Whenever I see you in a show, I'm always excited. Like, I unironically watch the Horimiya dub because I think you do such a good job.
Oh, thanks, man. It's a really cute show.
Anime sub. I usually watch anime and sub, but Horimiya, dude, you kill it.
Roll the clip of me killing the turtle.
Oh, he's very owned, and you clearly have no fondness for each other. Damn, what a killer.
Disclaimer, I swore that I would put this in the intro if the One Piece action adaptation looks awesome, and I'm not saying or confirming that anything happened behind the scenes, but it looks actually really cool based on what I was told. All right, we're gonna just keep it like that for legal ambiguity.
No matter what he does after this point, this video is effectively an ad. Self-aware dick-sucking is still dick-sucking. What this guy's calling trolling, I call extremely light banter, general mischief, shit I do with people I like. He shows us stuff like tricking people into saying words so he can snip them together into a song, messing around with Deji. It's bog standard social media cross-promo. Him saying it's not doesn't make it true. It just means he's retarded or lying. I'll let you pick. The one clip he shows where he kinda goes in on someone doesn't even really count. It's Boogie2988. His brand is Punching Bag. So it's no surprise that Lyrics wasn't satisfied. He said, so I just looked through the 2 examples you gave me of the videos where you quote-unquote troll, and you lied to my face, dude. You shouted out both of them, said you had a fun time, and said they were cool guys. These vids are literally just promotion for them. Weird examples you gave to defend the Shadman collab request. Can you clear this up, dude? It seems you were completely dishonest to me in your framing here. And from these examples, I can only assume you would treat Shadman the same if you would have gotten the collab. Fair, I'd say. It's worse that Nux gave these examples than if he gave no examples at all. Sadly, as far as I can tell at the time of writing, Nuxtaku didn't have time to respond to these ones. Odd. And this statement from Nux's video seems really...
So yeah, he literally doesn't reply to this in the video either. It's just pure, like the exact same sweeping again. Shows like 2 frames of each video. And then just like, oh yeah, I trolled him.
Odd now, doesn't it?
Collabs are not promotions or condonement in any way on my channel.
I don't think I like this guy. He gives me weirdo, slimy worm vibes. And you know what? I take back what I said at the beginning. Given such a severe mismatch between my values, my perspective on things, my judgment, my understanding of communication of things, and his, I wouldn't take his word on the general characterization of his Shadman interactions anymore, despite having been willing to give benefit of the doubt earlier.
I just scrolled back in my DMs from, how old is this? 1 second. 2020 with Shadman. Because he sent me some wild shit.
To a man like this, what even counts as wild shit anyway? Knowing Nuxtaku's level of tolerance, I doubt he's solely referring to the couple of messages he shared publicly. Do you really still believe, given just the few highlights I've shared, that he really thought Shadman was purely a freak specimen to be toyed with? Bear in mind, he claims during all of this...
No, it was obviously a fucking clout opportunity. The Shadman was a huge fucking clout opportunity. Dude, it's so good. I feel like there's just a... It's rewriting. Like, how many episodes of this shit was...
There is a world.
That Oni, this rice pirate guy, isn't this guy still around too? When did I last hear about this guy? I feel like this guy was in a drama at some point. I don't remember.
He was unaware of the Keemstar daughter thing. so Shad to him was just an edgy lolly boy. Which brings me to one last little Shad nugget that made me chuckle.
Also, Nux used a censored picture of Shadman's porn comic of Arya Stark, played by a child actor of Game of Thrones, for a thumbnail. This is all wrong. Okay, so we'll just do this one first. So I did use Shadman art in a thumbnail once. I made a video talked about fucking awful Game of Thrones, cursed Game of Thrones memes. One of the cursed Game of Thrones memes that popped up when I looked up fucking cursed Game of Thrones fucked up shit on Google Images was a Shadman art, and I didn't even know it was a Shadman art when I used it. I got comments saying I recognize the Shadman art, etc., etc., and I changed the art, not last week to avoid drama, not yesterday, so I could have a Zynga response video and make an apology. No apologies!
Isn't the only part that's wrong about this that it was Arya Stark?
Video and make an apology. No apologies! I changed the art 2 to 3 years ago!
All right, seems true he changed it a long time ago. Whether you believe the way he found it or not is up to you, but we'll get to that.
Also, to make things worse, they say that I used a picture from Shadman's porn comic of Arya Stark, played by a child actress for Game of Thrones. Lies! It wasn't even Arya Stark. It was the freaking you know nothing Jon Snow girl. It was her. It was not Arya Stark. These people literally will go crazy out of every
wow, that okay, crazy
possible way.
Yep, seems true too. I'm not a Game of Thrones enjoyer, but seems correct. And I know it seems true because I checked, and I regret checking.
I knew about the lolly stuff and some of his art, like the bestiality with fictional children, etc.
Yeah, the collection of images the thumbnail pic came from includes such an example of child dog rape. Now, I'm not saying he's...
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I was pointing out in the Reddit thread about this thumbnail. Apparently that exact same, even if Nux... Like that, the picture that Nux used, even though it wasn't Arya Stark, it was from a comic that had Arya Stark in it, being like fucking awed by a dog and shit.
By a child actress for Game of Thrones. Lies! It wasn't even Arya Stark. It was the freaking you know nothing Jon Snow girl. It was her. It was not Arya Stark. These people literally will go crazy out of every possible way.
Yep, seems true too. I'm not a Game of Thrones enjoyer, but seems correct. And I know it seems true because I checked, and I regret checking.
I knew about the lolly stuff and some of his art, like the bestiality with fictional children, etc.
Yeah, the collection of images the thumbnail pic came from includes such an example of child dog rape. Now, I'm not saying he's lying about his knowledge of the true source of the image. Who could prove that? But I do find it really funny that in the set, there are two versions of the girl he used. One more developed with larger breasts, and one with much smaller breasts, which could be seen as catering to a normal range of tastes, but given the artist becomes slightly sinister. What tickles me, you see, is that...
Is it that Nux used the child one?
Of course. Nuxtaku's old thumbnail used the less developed version. I do also have to explain another reason for my unprovable suspicion about his honesty. Back in the day,
It's like, if you were just trying to get like a clickable thumbnail, surely the adult developed one would be fine. Surely the adult developed one would be fine, right? That'd be fine for your thumbnail. It'd still be a bit crazy to use. It'd still be a little bit crazy. It's a Shadman drawing. But surely the adult one would work just fine. But no. He went for the child one. Because you gotta get those pedophile clicks.
my exposure to Shadman was primarily just seeing people talking about him, and the only thing of his I remember ever seeing is drawings of Hillary Clinton as a lolly. However, in looking into recent drama, I have become more familiar with Shadman's style than I'd ever want to be. He's a freak, but he's a skilled freak, and he has a style. I'm not confident that someone steeped in drawn degeneracy wouldn't have known at a glance that the drawing Nux used in his thumbnail was by Shadman. In fact...
Yeah, listen guys, The Shadman guy, the Shadman guy is a pedophile, but his art's not bad, based on Philippines.
His commenters noticed immediately, for instance. Maybe it was less that he realized it was Shadman, and more that he realized people pointing out so loudly that it's Shadman was an issue. Merely a possibility. Folks, at this point, forget roasting Shadman, forget trolling him. I think that guy's in jail anyway, the time has passed.
He's actually out
Maybe
now.
this Nuxtaku guy is the one in need of some flames. Seems like a soft target for ridicule to me.
Based targeting in your video?
Ooh, maybe someone should troll collab him like he was gonna do with Shadman. Any podcast that would do something like that? Having said that, as you know, I'm not an, oh no, you gotta block.
Coded message to all harmful opinion subscribers. Attack, 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 attack. Oh, man.
The weirdos and potential creeps and never interact kind of guy.
Kill,
but he wouldn't be my first pick of teammate. I wouldn't have him as a consistent podcast member. Just my taste. So when controversy flared, I wasn't surprised to see this. Mutahar, who ran a podcast with Nuxtaku, talking to friend of the stream, Chud Logic, about it. Mutahar initially explains his uncertainty about the situation.
He did tell me, like, they interacted before. I think it was, like, the collab shit. Okay. And from just, like, behind the scenes, he told me that this was all, like, a fucking joke or something at the time, which is, like, I never pressed so hard into that, just because I have no knowledge of, like, how far his relationship goes.
In spite of the uncertainty, though, things quickly got both spicier and muddier.
Are you going to keep him off the podcast?
No, we would cancel the podcast. It's
curious. Curious.
It's not happening. The podcast is done.
This is hard because obviously, you know, people want me
podcast is done. Yeah, podcast is done now.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the podcast is over. We are not filming the last episode. It's over.
Pretty nuclear statement in this context.
Is that are you serious?
Yeah, we're not doing the podcast anymore. It's done.
Why?
We're supposed to film on Tuesday. Well, there's a couple reasons for it. A lot of that was obviously
respect the journalist Chud Logic of the Chud Logic podcast. Yep.
Some of the Shad stuff too, because we were kind of sitting there. We're like, me and Caleb,
credible news source.
We were just like,
the Chud Logic podcast.
It's weird. The other thing was we just want to redo things, maybe like 2 months down the road or something, between each other, and that's kind of where we're at.
This is the key.
So Chud is my Asmongold, okay? I'm like Nux. Alright. I don't watch any other news. I just wake up and see if Chud Logic's got a video on it. Otherwise I don't know what's happening in the world. That's it.
Snippet. 2 things are mentioned. The podcast ending and an episode being cancelled. And 2 reasons are given. The Nux stuff being weird and an apparent plan they already had. Do the 2 reasons apply to both? Does one apply to one? Does one apply to the other?
Like Starku getting iced out. Sorry.
I mean, for me, for like Nux or whatever, like I talked to him and he's a good friend behind the scenes for sure. And this whole situation, like I would have to really look into more of his involvement and like everything. Like if you want to walk me through it, like I'd be completely fine.
And then somehow it gets even less clear, because despite such definitive statements, Mutahar is again expressing uncertainty, before later really homing in on the element of Nuxtaku's character that irks me.
I feel like if he had any interaction, it should just come clean entirely. It does come across a little weird that
being a pathetic, simpering little rat. Is that the aspect of his personality? How's this video being received? What the fuck is this?
The Lily Hobbit super chatted $1.99. Respect your father, kid.
Thank you for the $1.99. Okay, this shit needs to fucking stop. If people are still using the Urban Dictionary definition of the L word, then anything they say must be dismissed outright as it ignores all other evidence that contradicts the notion that the dreaded L word is just plain kids. Even Papa Meat, the recent topic of debate, showed a manga where the L-word girl said she was 40. We literally have L-word characters right now that we know are of age. Natsuki from DDLC, Litter, Epinel, Ray, Chime from Nikkei. The list a few, so many more. I would be surprised if any of you were consistent if there were doujinshi parodies, of shows that have kids who are the size of average adults, or the one where a 12-year-old got arrested for hanging around kids his age, that same 12-year-old being like 6'2". Kids are not special, unique victims of fictional art being used as outlets for fetish. Everything has been, from shows, cartoons, characters, everything has been. You know what video games and doujins have in common? They're fiction. If Florida disbarred Jack Thompson for failing to argue in court that there's a connection between crimes and the people who play video games, then why are we suddenly arbitrarily applying different rules for the same subject matter? What happens to the phrase separate fiction from reality? Does the same rules not apply? Those rules apply to people who helped to studies that asked this very question during the recession era. Now it suddenly doesn't. I won't hide from the fact there are children being depicted in these doujins. That's not at all up for debate. What is people's selective treatment of certain types of fiction as a whole. I wouldn't call Vosh a pedo for that art he had in his files out of principle. If it was from Shadman, yes, I absolutely would. I'd call him a hypocrite for trying to bash others for the thing he commits on Twitter. I would call him a pedo because he never scrubbed the trail of his long and sordid history of arguing against the age of consent. I don't care what anybody likes or dislikes. It's a fact you can get branded a criminal for something you'd never imagine doing in real life. Crime. And Sidai code because I'm on YouTube's most wanted. What? Poisoning communities with drugs. Get branded a criminal for something. Okay. Indiscriminate violence toward any NPC in video games, etc. I'm sick to death of this double standard in society. It's the same thing with edgy humor. If you mock people like Jaden, like Big Bungie, that suddenly means you're a phobe of everything under the sun. If you like old iDubbbz content, you're the reason the fourth you-know-what is gaining traction. No, reality doesn't work like this, by the virtue of courts and studies disproving a connection between violence and video games. Also, you're all the same person that references Gura, but lacks the awareness that she actively mocks Twitter bots for using an L-word character model that feeds thirsty fans. She doesn't care about the art depicting her. It has nothing to do with her. She is an individual, and neither should anybody else care about an avatar being drawn in a way people refuse to imagine. Did you even watch her hashtag Komi Requiem that was a cover from Ui Mama's song? Okay. Dude, every lolicon is like this. This is every lolicon, by the way. They are all like this. Paste that in Discord now? I'm not having that under my name. Go get the comment yourself. This is literally, it's got the exact same energy as the libertarian copypasta. See, listen, I'm sick and tired of you fucking trolls. Pedophilia is the attraction. Where's the libertarian copypasta? That's the funniest one. I can't really find it, whatever.
Response, but he admitted that part. It's like, I think if you're in that camp, if you ever interacted with Shadman, just completely own up to it once, take the fucking L and move on. But that's just weird if you're not able to. I don't know. It almost seems like kind of like hiding an interaction for no real reason.
And then a later comment sounds even worse.
I mean, there's no reason to really hide it unless like the interaction was more deeper than it was initially let on, is what I would say.
There's more said than I've shown in these clips, but I think it's clear that while the specifics were murky, the tone was a little hardcore. It's easy to understand how people could interpret this in different ways, but there were one or two concrete statements, and I want to focus on this one.
We are not filming the last episode. It's over.
Cut and dry. It's over. They're not filming the last episode. I think we ourselves can home in on that and say the cancellation of the last episode is probably down to the Nuxtaku controversy regarding association with Shadman. But as with so many things that relate to Nux...
and that's a specific claim as well, is it's the cancellation of the last episode, not the cancellation of the podcast. And then the last episode happened. But then the last episode happened. Very curious.
Even with this, there's slipping, there's sliding, there's sliminess. There did end up being a final episode recorded and published featuring Nux. Which isn't the issue. I'm not saying, he said there wasn't going to be and now there is. No, it's fine. It's all right. You can change your mind. However, what bothers me is...
The thing is that you can change your mind, but if you were initially cancelling it...
Him STR super chatted $6.40. Okay, I get the Mutahar hate.
Thank you for the £5. Thank you for the £5 and the conversion. the thing is, you can change your mind. But if you're saying, like, I'm disavowing this guy because he's too close, don't do abbreviations of that phrase in chat. The thing is, if you're saying, I'm disavowing this guy because he's too close, like, pedophile stuff, that's like a big disavowal. And you kind of, if you're going to change your mind on that, you have to justify that. You have to address that. That's too much of a, there's too much of an incongruence between your stated values and stated boundaries on this versus your actions for you to just skate by it.
The blatant sweeping, as the kids call it, that accompanied this. One more example of spineless, subtly deceptive behavior to throw on the pile. You see, it must have been Nuxtaku's lucky day. Chud Logic and a Twitter user, understandably given what Mutahar said and the way he said it, mischaracterized the situation. Chud's title stated Nux was kicked from the podcast, and the tweet claimed it was ending because of this controversy, which as we know now is not accurate. Nux seizes on this error in his defense video. He even has a big ol' yapping clip from Mutahar reinforcing that it's false. The podcast was not ending because of Nux. In fact, they intend to work together in the future if possible. Great. Looks true to me. What's the problem? That isn't all there is. That's not even necessarily the juiciest part. The announcement of the episode cancellation sounded like a snap-in-the-moment emotional decision. And the reason for that at the time was most definitely the controversy, as confirmed on another Chud Logic stream by Mutahar's other half via Super Chat.
Oh, okay. Right. So the truth is, this is Dojangle saying this, I believe, okay? So...
Oh, man. I didn't even spot this.
Is this it? Is this true? Can we say this? The last episode was the reason it wasn't filmed because of the Shadman stuff, but the podcast was ending anyway. And the way Mutahar explained it made it sound like the podcast was ending because of that stuff, but it was actually the fact the last episode wasn't being filmed because of that stuff, and it was going to end anyway. Is that it? Is that the fair assessment of this?
Doe confirms this characterization
but then the last
as
episode was
accurate, though it's worth noting her super chat says it was the reason at the time. Following this, Chud perceptively notes.
So yeah, it feels like what this does then, it enables it to be like, well, it's not ending because of me, but then if it is true that the last episode wasn't filmed because of the Shadman stuff, I mean, that is worth a mention, right? But he's probably not going to mention it because he can just focus on the, well, it was going to end anyway. It was going to end anyway type thing.
Yep. He lays it out again.
I think it's probably true the podcast was ending anyway, and it's just the final episode isn't being recorded because of this little drama that happened with the Shadman stuff, right?
During this, Doe chimes in to say that the last episode has, in fact, been recorded. They backtracked, as we know because it's been released at this point, with a full cast. The otherwise perceptive Chud misses this in chat and proceeds to theorize.
Like, clearly, to me, what this seems like is, like, they don't want to fucking burn Nuxtaku super hard over this. So they're giving this little out of, like, we'll make it about the podcast ending without really talking much about the reasoning for the last episode not getting filmed. That's what it seems like to me.
To which Doe replies and confirms they don't want to burn him. They're still friends. Or friends looking out for friends. So it's a sweep. A minor sweep, but a sweep nonetheless. Last episode was originally going to be cancelled over creepy shit? Into the memory hole. That statement was never made. And while they do briefly help Nux out with the drama at the start of their last episode, nothing about Mutahar's original intent or statement of cancellation is mentioned as far as I can tell. Never happened, I guess. Doesn't matter. Not pertinent to direct discussion of the drama that was directly responsible for this episode being planned to never occur. In fact, I feel really sleepy. Maybe Mutahar never had those feelings or said those things that thousands of people have heard. I must be mistaken. To me, this is one more little tiny PR asswipe for the guy who constantly needs spot cleaning when his butt gets too dirty. Look, it's cool to have internet video friends, but when that means clearly strategizing to manipulate an audience's perception of reality to their benefit, it rubs me the wrong way. Once you're creating mass media,
that's real. That's facts.
Once you're broadcasting to people,
that's facts.
That's not being a good friend. That's called being compromised by friendship. Though, to be fair,
Mutahar
friendship
compromise as
might not
fuck.
be the
Let's
right
go.
term. Think about it. We saw in that interview, Mutahar didn't really know what was happening, but was ready to knee-jerk throw Nuxtaku under the bus. Controversy? Ooh, not doing the last episode, even though that's a really, really bad look for Nuxtaku.
That's
Maybe
facts.
Mutahar's
That's
explanation was
facts.
so garbled out of panic. The worst of both worlds. Memory holding what happened because it's a bad look for your associate, but they're not a close enough associate really to have not knee-jerk screwed them on a live stream in the first place, which you then need to pretend didn't happen. It's a real shame that Chud chilled on it after getting his answers so quickly, for some reason. I think there was plenty more fun that could have been had. This isn't even really a high-pressure thing. The stakes aren't that high for Nuxtaku. It's not like much of his existing audience would turn on him over a Shadman association, regardless of how tenuous or close it may be, or because large creators cancel a show over it, making it look like they're judging him. Just look at what's enticed them to click on videos over the years. They'd probably
Chud doesn't want to burn the Help Me Sar bridge.
be into it. But, as usual, that's just another one of my harmful opinions.
Epic. What a great video. I'll link it.